I stared at the credit card statement on my phone, my coffee growing cold in my hand. The charge had come through an hour ago. Riverside Grand Hotel and Spa, couples massage package, $847. My wife had left 3 days ago for what she called a critical business conference in the city, about 2 hours from our suburban home. She worked in pharmaceutical sales, so business trips weren't unusual. What was unusual was the spa charge. What was even more unusual was that she'd told me she was staying at the Hampton Inn, her company's standard choice for these trips. I scrolled back through our messages. Her texts had been sparse but consistent. Long day of presentations. Missing you and the kids. Talk tomorrow. Each message carefully timed, each one generic enough to avoid details. Our son burst into the kitchen, his sister trailing behind him. "Dad, can we have pancakes?" he asked, already reaching for the syrup. "Sure, buddy," I said absently, still staring at my phone. The Riverside Grand was a luxury hotel, the kind with marble lobbies and restaurants that required reservations weeks in advance. It was also known for something else. It was where couples went for romantic getaways. I'd actually looked into taking my wife there for our anniversary last year, but we couldn't justify the expense with 2 kids in private school. Apparently, someone could justify it now. I tried calling her. The phone rang 4 times before going to voicemail. "Hey, it's me. Just wanted to check in. Call me when you get a chance." I kept my voice neutral, fighting the tightness in my chest. My daughter looked up from her tablet. "Is Mom coming home today?" "Tomorrow, sweetheart," I said, forcing a smile. "She'll be home tomorrow afternoon." But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. In 12 years of marriage, my wife had never been secretive about money. We shared accounts, discussed major purchases, operated as a team. This charge was wrong on multiple levels. Wrong hotel, wrong expense, wrong everything. I opened my laptop and searched for the Riverside Grand's website. The couple's massage package included champagne, rose petals, and a private suite for relaxation. The photos showed intimate spaces designed for 2 people very much in love. My hands were shaking now. I thought about our marriage, trying to identify the cracks. We'd been busy. I'd taken on extra projects at the architecture firm, working late several nights a week. She'd been stressed about hitting her sales targets. We'd been like ships passing in the night, coordinating kids' schedules and household tasks but rarely connecting on anything deeper. But infidelity? I never thought we'd be that couple. Another text from her arrived. Conference running late. Probably won't be able to call tonight. Love you. The words felt hollow, rehearsed. I made the pancakes mechanically, watching the kids eat while my mind raced through possibilities. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe the charge was fraudulent. Maybe there was a perfectly reasonable explanation. But the more I thought about it, the more the pieces fit together. The late-night work calls she'd been taking in the garage. The new lingerie I'd found in her drawer that I'd never seen her wear. The way she'd been distracted lately, her mind always somewhere else. I looked at our kids, laughing over their breakfast, oblivious to the earthquake building beneath their feet. They adored their mother. She was the parent who never missed a school event, who knew all their friends' names, who made childhood magical. What was I supposed to do with this information? I could confront her over the phone, start a fight that would accomplish nothing. I could wait until she came home and demand an explanation. I could pretend I never saw the charge and slowly poison myself with suspicion and doubt. Or I could find out the truth. I picked up my phone and called the Riverside Grand. "Hi, I need to confirm a reservation for my wife," I said, giving her name. The receptionist clicked through her computer. "Yes, sir. She's in the executive suite through tomorrow. Would you like me to connect you to her room?" "No," I said quietly. "That won't be necessary." I hung up and looked at the kids. "How would you like to surprise Mom today?" The kids were thrilled. A spontaneous road trip on a school day felt like winning the lottery. I called their school and said they had family obligations, not exactly a lie. As I packed their overnight bags, my hands moved on autopilot while my mind spun through scenarios. Maybe I was overreacting. Maybe there was an explanation. But the executive suite detail gnawed at me. Her company definitely didn't spring for executive suites. "Dad, why are we really going?" my daughter asked as we loaded into the car. She was 11, old enough to sense something beneath the surface. "I told you, to surprise Mom. Won't she be happy to see you?" "I guess," she said, but her eyes stayed on me, searching. My son, 8 and endlessly enthusiastic, had no such concerns. He chatted about showing Mom his recent math test, an A-, his best yet, and played road trip games with his sister as we drove. I told my wife we were going. I texted, "Kids missed you too much. We're coming to take you to dinner tonight. Surprise." She'd responded 20 minutes later, "What? You can't come here. I'm swamped with conference stuff." Really bad timing. My jaw had clenched reading it. Not "I miss you too" or "What a sweet surprise." Just panic and resistance. I'd replied, "Already on the road. We'll keep it quick. The kids are so excited." She hadn't responded after that. The drive gave me too much time to think. I thought about the early years, when we were so in love we could barely stand to be apart. I thought about the night I proposed, how she'd cried and said yes before I even finished asking. I thought about holding our son for the first time, how we'd looked at each other with wonder at what we'd created together. When had we lost that? When did we become just roommates managing a household? "Dad." My daughter's voice pulled me back. "Are you okay? You look sad." I glanced in the rearview mirror and forced another smile. "Just concentrating on driving, honey." But she knew. Kids always know more than we give them credit for. We stopped for lunch at a diner halfway there. The kids ordered burgers while I pushed fries around my plate, my stomach in knots. My phone buzzed repeatedly, my wife calling. I let it go to voicemail. Then came the texts. "Please don't come to the hotel. I'm serious. I have important client meetings. Can you at least call me? You're being really inconsiderate right now." That last one almost made me laugh. Inconsiderate. The word bounced around my head as we got back in the car and continued toward the city. My son fell asleep in the back, his head against the window. My daughter put in her earbuds but kept watching me. Finally, she said, "Dad, are you and Mom fighting?" "Why would you think that?" "Because you're acting weird. And Mom's been acting weird. She's been on her phone all the time, even at dinner. And last week I heard you asking her about something and she got really mad." I'd forgotten about that. I'd questioned why she needed to take a work call at 10 p.m. on a Saturday. She'd snapped that I didn't understand the pressure she was under, that I never appreciated how hard she worked. "Sometimes adults have things they need to work out," I said carefully. "But we both love you very much. That never changes." She nodded, but she didn't look convinced. We reached the city around 4 p.m. The Riverside Grand stood downtown, a gleaming tower of glass and steel. I pulled into the parking garage, my heart hammering now. What was I about to do? What was I about to expose my children to? But I had to know. I couldn't live with the uncertainty, couldn't look at her the same way until I knew the truth. We walked through the lobby, all marble and chandeliers and soft piano music. The kids were wide-eyed at the opulence. I approached the front desk. "I'm here to see my wife," I said, giving her name. "Could you tell me her room number?" The clerk hesitated. "I'm sorry, sir, we can't give out guest room numbers for privacy reasons." "I'm her husband. These are our children. She's expecting us." That was a lie, but the clerk looked at the kids and relented. "Executive suite, 12th floor, room 1207. My phone buzzed again. "My wife. Where are you?" I didn't answer. We took the elevator up, the kids chattering excitedly about seeing Mom. I felt like I was moving through water, each step heavy and surreal. The hallway was quiet, plush carpet muffling our footsteps. Room 1207 was at the end, double doors indicating the suite's size. "Okay," I said to the kids, my voice sounding distant to my own ears. "Let's surprise Mom. Knock loud so she hears you." They rushed to the door, my son pounding enthusiastically. Mom. Surprise. For a moment. Nothing. Then footsteps. Then the door swung open. But it wasn't my wife standing there. The man was in his late 30s, wearing only dress pants, his chest bare, his hair disheveled. For a second, we all froze, him staring at us in shock, me staring at him in confirmation of my worst fears, and the kids confused about why this strange man was answering their mother's hotel room door. "Who are you?" my daughter asked, her voice small. Behind him, I could see into the suite. Champagne glasses on the table, rose petals scattered across the floor leading to the bedroom, my wife's suitcase open on the couch. And then I saw her, emerging from what must have been the bathroom, wearing a hotel robe, her face draining of all color when she saw us. "Oh my God," she breathed. The man stepped back, raising his hands. "Look, I can explain." "Dad." My son tugged at my sleeve, tears already forming in his eyes. "Why is there a man in Mom's room?" I couldn't speak. My throat had closed up completely. I just stood there, one hand on each kid's shoulder, staring at my wife across the hotel suite that she'd shared with this stranger. She rushed forward, tightening the robe around herself. "Honey, let me explain. This isn't what it looks like." "Mom, who is that?" my daughter asked, her voice rising. "Why was he in your room with no shirt?" The man had moved to grab his shirt from a chair, his face red. "I should go." "Don't you dare move," I said, finding my voice finally. It came out cold, controlled, the opposite of what I felt inside. "I want my kids to see exactly who their mother has been spending time with while she was supposedly at a business conference." My wife's eyes filled with tears. "Please, not in front of the children. Please." But my daughter had already pulled out her phone. She was 11, raised in the age of social media, where everything was documented. "Mom's a liar," she said, her voice shaking as she started recording. "She lied to us." "Sweetheart, no," my wife lunged toward her, but our daughter stepped back, keeping the phone up, capturing everything. The hotel suite, the champagne, the rose petals, the half-dressed man, her mother's panicked face. "You told us you were working," my son shouted, crying now. "You lied." The man finally got his shirt on and grabbed his jacket. "I'm leaving. I didn't sign up for this." "Who are you?" I demanded. He glanced at my wife, then at me. We work together. Same company." "And your name?" "That doesn't matter now," my wife said desperately. "Please, everyone just calm down. Can we talk about this privately?" "No," I said. "No more privacy. No more secrets. How long?" She looked at the floor. "It doesn't matter." "How long have you been sleeping with your coworker while telling us you were at business conferences?" My daughter was still recording, tears running down her face, but her hands stayed steady. My son had buried his face against my leg, sobbing. The man moved toward the door. "I really should." 6 months, my wife said quietly. "It's been 6 months." The number hit me like a physical blow. 6 months. Half a year of lies. Half a year of her coming home and kissing the kids goodnight and slipping into bed next to me, all while maintaining this secret life. 6 months, I repeated. The quarterly conference in March. She nodded, not meeting my eyes. The regional training in June. Another nod. The product launch in September. "Yes," she whispered. My son looked up at her, his face wet with tears. "You weren't really working? You were with him the whole time." She knelt down, trying to reach for him, but he recoiled. "Baby, I love you. I love you so much. This has nothing to do with you." "Don't," I said. "Don't tell them this has nothing to do with them when you've been lying to them for half a year." The man had reached the door. "Look, I'm sorry. This got out of hand. We should have." "Is he married?" I asked my wife. "Does he have kids too?" The man's face answered before he could speak. He was married. Of course he was. "Get out," I told him. Go home to your family and figure out how you're going to explain this to your wife." He left quickly, the door clicking shut behind him. My wife stood there in her hotel robe, mascara running down her face, looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. "Please," she said. "Please, let's go somewhere and talk. Not here. Not like this." "Mom's a cheater," my daughter said, still recording, her voice breaking. "You cheated on Dad. You cheated on our family." "Sweetheart, stop recording. Please stop recording." "Why? So you can lie more? So you can pretend this didn't happen?" My wife looked at me, desperate. "Please make her stop. Please. If this gets out, my parents can't know about this. They can't. You know how they are." And I did know. Her parents were traditional, religious, wealthy. They'd paid for our wedding, helped with the down payment on our house, funded the kids' private school education. They believed in family values, in the sanctity of marriage, in keeping up appearances. Her mother had once disowned a cousin for getting divorced. "Your parents," I said. "That's what you're worried about right now? Your parents. You don't understand. If they find out, they'll cut me off. They'll cut off the kids. The school tuition, everything. Maybe you should have thought about that before you booked an executive suite with your coworker." She grabbed my arm. "Please. I'm begging you. I made a mistake. A terrible mistake. But I can't lose everything. The kids can't lose everything." My daughter was still recording, capturing every word. "Send it to me," I told her quietly. "What?" "The video. Send it to me right now." My wife's face went white. "No. Please, no. What are you going to do with it?" "I don't know yet," I said honestly. "But it's going somewhere safe where you can't delete it or claim this never happened." We didn't stay at the hotel. I couldn't bear another minute in that suite with its champagne and rose petals, evidence of the romance my wife had been enjoying while I was home helping with homework and packing school lunches. I herded the kids toward the elevator while my wife scrambled to throw on clothes, begging us to wait, to talk, to give her a chance to explain. "Dad, I don't want to talk to her," my daughter said in the elevator, her eyes red from crying but her jaw set with anger that looked too old for her face. My son hadn't spoken since we left the suite. He held my hand tightly, his small body trembling. My wife caught up with us in the lobby, dressed now in jeans and a sweater, her hair still messy, her face bare of makeup. She looked nothing like the polished pharmaceutical sales executive who'd kissed us goodbye 3 days ago. "Where are you going?" she asked, her voice high with panic. "We need to talk about this." "There's nothing to talk about," I said. "The kids and I are going home. You can come home whenever your conference ends. Or whenever your affair ends. Whichever comes first. Please don't do this. Not in front of the kids. They're already traumatized." "They're traumatized because of what you did," my daughter snapped. "Not because of Dad." People in the lobby were starting to stare. My wife noticed, her face flushing. Even in crisis, she was aware of appearances, of what people might think. "Fine," she said, lowering her voice. "I'll come home now. Let me check out and I'll follow you." "No," I said. "You stay here. Finish whatever this is. We'll talk when you were originally scheduled to come home." "That's not fair." "Fair?" I laughed, a harsh sound. "You want to talk about fair?" My son tugged on my hand. "Dad, I want to go home. Please." We left her standing in the lobby. I could feel her watching us go, could sense her desperation, but I didn't turn around. The kids were silent on the drive home, my daughter staring out the window, my son eventually falling asleep from emotional exhaustion. My daughter spoke once. "Are you going to tell Grandma and Grandpa?" I glanced at her. "What do you think I should do?" She was quiet for a long moment. "If you don't tell them, she'll keep lying. She'll find a way to make this seem like it's not her fault. That's what liars do." "When did you get so wise?" "When I realized my mom has been lying to us for 6 months," she said bitterly. We got home around 9 p.m. I ordered pizza even though no one was hungry. The kids picked at their slices while I tried to process what had happened, what I needed to do next. My phone kept buzzing, my wife calling, texting, begging me to answer. I'm so sorry. Please let me explain. It meant nothing. He means nothing. I love you. I love our family. Please don't tell my parents. That last text came through a dozen times in different variations. That's what she was most afraid of, not losing me, not damaging the kids, but her parents finding out. The money, the status, the carefully constructed image of the perfect daughter with the perfect family. My daughter appeared in the doorway of my study around 11 p.m. I can't sleep. Me neither, I admitted. She sat down across from me. What happens now? I don't know, honey. This is all very new. Are you getting divorced? The word hung in the air between us. Maybe. Probably. I don't know how to come back from something like this. She nodded, looking older than her 11 years. I don't think I can forgive her. Does that make me a bad person? No, I said firmly. It makes you honest. And you're allowed to feel however you feel about this. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Even if it means I don't want to see her. That was harder. Even then. Though that might change with time. Or it might not. We'll figure it out. She was quiet for a moment. The video is backed up. I uploaded it to the cloud. Just in case. Just in case what? In case Mom tries to say it didn't happen. Or tries to blame you. Or tries to make it seem like we're the ones being mean to her. I stared at my daughter, at this child who'd grown up before my eyes in a single afternoon. When did you learn to think like this? Today, she said simply. When I learned my mom is a liar. The next morning, my wife came home. I heard her car in the driveway, heard her key in the lock. The kids were at the kitchen table eating cereal. They both stiffened when she walked in. Hi, babies, she said, her voice tentative. She looked awful, no sleep, eyes swollen, still wearing yesterday's clothes. Neither child responded. Can we talk? She asked me. Kids, go upstairs, I said. They left quickly, relieved to escape. My wife moved toward me, reaching out, but I stepped back. Don't. Please, just let me explain. Explain what? How you've been having an affair for 6 months. How you used our money to book romantic hotel suites. How you exposed our children to your lies. It wasn't supposed to happen like this, she said, tears starting again. It started innocent, just someone to talk to who understood the pressure of the job. And then it became more, and I knew it was wrong, but I couldn't stop. I was going to end it. I was planning to end it. When? After another 6 months. Another year. I know I hurt you. I know I hurt the kids. But please, we can fix this. We can go to counseling. I'll do anything. Except tell your parents the truth. Her face crumbled. You know what they're like. They'll never forgive me. They'll cut us off completely. The kids' school, the house, we couldn't afford any of it without their help. So this is about money. It's about our children's future. It's about not destroying their lives because I made a mistake. You made a choice, I corrected. Not a mistake. A choice. Over and over again, for 6 months, you chose to betray this family. She sank into a chair, her head in her hands. What do you want me to do? I want you to tell your parents what you did. Her head snapped up. I can't. You know I can't. Then I'll tell them. No. She shot to her feet. You can't. Please, I'm begging you. Don't do this. Don't destroy everything. I'm not destroying anything. You already did that. She dropped to her knees, actually on her knees in front of me, hands clasped. Please. I'll do anything else. Anything. But don't tell my parents. Don't show them that video. Please. I looked down at this woman I'd loved for 12 years, now begging at my feet, and felt nothing but disgust. Not for the affair, though that was bad enough, but for the fact that her primary concern was maintaining her financial safety net. "Get up," I said quietly. "Promise me first. Promise me you won't tell them." "I can't promise that." "The kids then. Think about the kids. If my parents cut us off, they lose their school, their stability, everything." "The kids lost their stability the moment you decided to have an affair," I said. "Everything else is just logistics." The phone call came 3 days later. My mother-in-law's name lit up my screen, and I knew before answering that my wife had crafted some preemptive narrative. She'd been scrambling since the hotel confrontation, sleeping in the guest room, following me around the house with justifications and promises and increasingly desperate bargains. "Hello, Patricia," I said, answering. "We need to talk." Her voice was cold, controlled. "My daughter tells me you've been making threats." I almost laughed. "Is that what she told you?" "She says you're trying to extort her. That you're using some fabricated story to manipulate her into giving you full custody of the children." So that was the play. Get ahead of the story, frame herself as the victim, make me the villain. It was actually clever, in a sociopathic sort of way. "Patricia, your daughter has been having an affair with a coworker for the past 6 months. She told us she was attending business conferences when she was actually staying at luxury hotels with him. Our children discovered this firsthand. There's nothing fabricated about it." Silence on the other end. "Then, that's a serious accusation." "It's not an accusation. It's a fact. Would you like me to send you the video evidence?" Video evidence. Our daughter filmed the confrontation. The hotel suite, the rose petals, the champagne, the half-dressed man answering the door. All of it. More silence. I could hear my mother-in-law breathing, could imagine her standing in her pristine living room, her carefully ordered world suddenly tilting. "Send it to me," she said finally. I did, right there on the call. I heard her gasp as she watched it, heard her say "Oh my God" under her breath. When it finished, the silence stretched for nearly a minute. "Does Thomas know?" she asked, referring to my father-in-law. "Not yet." "Don't tell him. Please. His heart, he just had the procedure, you know this. The stress could." "I'm not trying to hurt anyone, Patricia. But I'm also not going to protect your daughter from the consequences of her choices. Especially when those consequences impact my children. What do you want?" Her voice had changed, become calculating. This was the businesswoman speaking now, the woman who'd built a pharmaceutical empire with her husband. "Money. The house. What's your price to keep this quiet?" "I don't want your money." "Everyone wants money. Name your number." "I want your daughter to be honest for once in 6 months. I want her to tell you and Thomas the truth. And I want her to understand that actions have consequences, that she can't buy or manipulate her way out of this." "You're being naive. Money solves everything. It always has." "Not this. This broke something that money can't fix." My mother-in-law sighed. "You know what this will do to the family. The reputation we've built, the standing in the community. This will destroy all of that. Your daughter thought about that before she booked the hotel room, I'm sure. Don't be glib. You have children to think about. If this becomes public, they'll suffer too. Kids at school, other parents talking. Do you really want to put them through that?" It was a good point, actually. I'd been so focused on truth and consequences that I hadn't fully considered how this would affect the kids beyond our immediate family. But I also knew that secrets had a way of festering, of causing more damage in the long run. "What are you suggesting?" I asked. "Discretion. We handle this privately, keep it contained. Your wife ends the affair, I assume she hasn't already." "She says she has." "Good. She ends it. You two get counseling, we move forward. The children's schooling continues, your mortgage assistance continues, everything remains stable. In exchange for my silence. In exchange for everyone's well-being." Including yours. Do you really want to be a single father? Managing work and 2 children alone? The financial pressure, the emotional toll. She was good, I'd give her that. Presenting the offer as being for my benefit rather than theirs. I need time to think, I said. Don't take too long. These things have a way of getting out of control. After we hung up, I sat in my study staring at nothing. My wife appeared in the doorway, nervous. Did she call you? You got to her first, I said. Tried to spin the story your way. I had to. I knew you'd tell them, and I had to at least try to. To what? Lie more. Manipulate more. She came into the room, closed the door behind her. Mom called me right after she talked to you. She's willing to help us through this. Counseling, financial support, everything. We can fix this. At what cost? No cost. Just discretion. We keep it private, work on our marriage, move forward. And you're okay with that? With everyone pretending nothing happened? With our kids watching you get away with it? It's not getting away with it. I'm willing to do the work, go to therapy, whatever it takes. I just want to save our family. You should have thought about that 6 months ago. She started crying again. She'd been crying a lot these past few days, and I was becoming immune to it. What do you want from me? You want me to suffer more? Fine, I'm suffering. You want me to grovel? I'll grovel. Just please, don't blow up our entire lives. The thing was, I did want her to suffer. Not in a vindictive way, but in a real, genuine, face the consequences way. I wanted her to understand the magnitude of what she'd done, the trust she'd broken, the innocence she'd stolen from our children. But I also had to consider those same children. They were upstairs right now, probably listening to this conversation through the vents, trying to understand why their world was falling apart. That night, I gathered both kids in the living room. My wife sat on the opposite couch, wary. I want to talk to you both about what happens next, I said. Because this affects all of us, and you deserve to have a say. Are you getting divorced? My son asked immediately. I don't know yet. Maybe. But before any decisions are made, I need to know how you both feel. About Mom, about our family, about what you need to feel safe and okay. My daughter spoke first. I don't want to live with her. My wife flinched like she'd been slapped. Sweetheart. Let her talk, I said. She lied to us. 4 months. And even now, she's more worried about Grandma and Grandpa finding out than about how we feel. I heard you on the phone with Grandma earlier, Mom. You were trying to make Dad look like the bad guy. I was trying to protect our family. You were trying to protect yourself, my daughter said. That's all you care about. Yourself. My wife turned to our son. What about you, baby? Do you feel the same way? He looked torn, his 8-year-old face struggling with emotions too big for him. I'm mad at you, he said finally. Really mad. But you're still my mom. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you. But I don't want you to not get in trouble, he added. That's not fair. You did something really bad. I looked at my wife. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to tell your parents the truth, the whole truth, including showing them the video if they want to see it. No spinning, no minimizing. You're going to accept whatever consequences they decide on. And you're going to do it because it's the right thing to do, not because I'm forcing you. And if I don't, then I will. And I'll file for divorce, and I'll pursue full custody, and I'll make sure everyone understands exactly why this family fell apart. That's not fair. Fair. My daughter's voice was sharp. You want to talk about fair? My wife looked around the room, at her children who wouldn't meet her eyes, at me with my arms crossed, at the life she'd jeopardized for hotel room romance. Finally, she nodded. Okay, I'll tell them. She called her parents the next morning, on speakerphone at my insistence. Her father answered, cheerful and unsuspecting. Daddy, she began, her voice shaking. I need to tell you something. Both of you. Can Mom get on the line? When her mother joined, having already seen the video but apparently keeping it from her husband, my wife took a deep breath and told him everything. The affair, the lies, the hotel room, the confrontation with the children present. The silence that followed was deafening. Then my father-in-law spoke, his voice barely controlled. You did what? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry. His voice rose. You destroyed your marriage, you traumatized your children, you humiliated your family, and you're sorry. Thomas, your heart. My mother-in-law tried. My heart is fine. What's not fine is my daughter being a goddamn adulterer. I'd never heard him swear before. In 20 years of knowing him, never once. You will fix this, he told his daughter. I don't care how. Counseling, whatever it takes. But you will fix this marriage and you will make this right with those kids. And if you can't do that, if you're not willing to do the hard work to repair what you've broken, then you're not the daughter I raised. Daddy. Don't. Just don't. I need time to process this. We'll talk later. He hung up. My wife sat there, phone still in her hand, tears streaming down her face. There, she said to me. I told them. I did what you wanted. That's not what I wanted, I said. What I wanted was a wife who didn't cheat on me. But we don't always get what we want. Weeks passed. We went to counseling, both couples therapy and individual sessions for each of us and the kids. My wife had ended things with her coworker, who'd apparently done the same to avoid his own divorce. The kids were in therapy too, working through their feelings of betrayal and confusion. Progress was slow and painful. Some days felt manageable. Others felt impossible. My daughter came to me one evening while I was making dinner. Dad? I've been thinking. About Mom. And forgiveness. And I don't know if I can forgive her yet. Maybe not for a long time. But I think I don't want her to lose everything either. That doesn't help anyone. That's very mature of you. Is it weird that I'm still so angry but I also don't want her to be destroyed? No, I said, pulling her into a hug. That's not weird at all. That's love and hurt existing at the same time. It's the hardest thing in the world, but it's also very human. I don't know if our marriage will survive. Some days I think maybe, with enough work and time. Other days I'm certain it won't, that too much has been broken. My wife is trying, genuinely trying, I think. She's in therapy, she's being transparent with her phone and schedule, she's putting in effort with the kids even when they push her away. But trust, once shattered, doesn't just glue back together. It has to be rebuilt, piece by piece, with no guarantee it will ever be as strong as before. The one thing I know for certain is that the truth, as painful as it was to uncover and confront, was better than living in the shadow of lies. My children learned that actions have consequences, that integrity matters, that sometimes loving someone means holding them accountable. And me. I learned that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is demand honesty, even when it destroys the comfortable fiction you've been living in. The road ahead is uncertain. But at least now, we're walking it with our eyes open.